Have you ever wished you could eavesdrop on a conversation with a millionaire? My name is Michelle Thompson. I'm a retired project controls engineer and business professor, and that's exactly what I'm going to do in this podcast. I get to ask the questions that everyone else wishes they could. I'm going to find out exactly how they were able to build their empires through automation and outsourcing. And I'm going to break it down in a way that helps you build your business to run on autopilot. Don't miss out on Automate to Dominate. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Automate to Dominate. I am super excited to have Patty Rogers with me. She is the owner of B2B Digital Assistance. And Patty actually has a corporate background that started out in commercial real estate, doing, a whole bunch of recruiting and finance and accounting roles. Then she actually kind of transitioned home to the entrepreneur style, and she is a mastermind in lifestyle marketing. And so I wanted to pick her brain about that. But the cool part about this is that she's going to teach us how to use systems to get everybody through this life cycle marketing so that it's not a huge burden on you as a business owner. So Patty, thank you so very much for being on the show.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Super excited.
Absolutely. So give us a little bit of a background, because I did a horrible job of introducing you. Tell us a little bit about you and how you ended up to where you are today.
Oh my gosh, I'll give you like the super high level. So you commented on corporate. I was all corporate, large international companies, and then I transitioned to a small business. So I kind of have seen all sides of business ownership and how that works, always on the customer service, really service side, so service provider. And then life changed and I got married and had a baby, and that very quickly changes things.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was a while ago.
Yeah, but still awesome, right?
Yeah, it's still awesome. And, I think I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Like this, there's a certain spirit, right, that we all have, and we can all, it's kind of palpable to me. Like there's an energy when I talk to like-minded people and entrepreneurs. So, my first business was actually a VA company. That's where I started. So
nice.
And I did that for a while. I did that for like a solid 8 years. And I very quickly realized that where I really excelled was in the strategy behind marketing. And that's where B2B Digital Assistance was born. And that's my passion. I love it. And I work with female entrepreneurs.
Sweet. So tell us a little bit about the business.
What specifically do you want to know?
Well, so you transitioned from VA into like the automation and the strategy side. So if somebody were going to come to you, who is your ideal client and what are their pain points? Why are they coming to you?
They are coming to me because they've been in business for a little bit. So they're usually not brand new newbie businesses. They've been in business. They are great at what they do, but they are having an issue either generating leads, converting those sales, or getting out of that all too common feast or famine, right? There's a lot of overwhelm. We all get into business because we're really good at one thing. But what happens very, very quickly is we realize there's all these other components of business, right? There's marketing, there's sales, there's fulfillment, there's operations. There's so many other things that come along with being a business owner. And then all of that becomes very heavy. And we kind of lose that passion and that drive of what got us into business in the first place. So that's why I'm super passionate and kind of dorky about automation, because it allows you to like alleviate all that stuff. All those wake up in the middle of the night moments, those go away when you have a truly thought out and automated business. And there are certain parts of it that just run in the background. And that's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's so freeing and it becomes addicting, right? You're like, oh, what else can I get off my plate and automate? And guys, make sure you listen through this because Patty's got this amazing offer that she's given to us. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But I am like super stoked because she is giving you a workshop that is what most people dream of, right? So, and she's going to just do it for you. So, we're going to get into that in a little bit. But let's back up a little bit before we put the cart before the horse and talk to me about lifestyle marketing. Why is it important? Why do business owners need to care? How does it change the customer experience and the retention rate of the customers? Talk to me about all that.
Good question. Good questions. It's so exciting. So lifecycle marketing essentially is a path for, or a guide really, for you to create calm, predictable, and scalable growth within your company. So we're really focusing on moving away from that feast and famine cycle, that feast or famine cycle, because that is such a sticking point for business owners, and it really stops them from getting to where they want to go. So as we talk about lifecycle marketing, we're going to break it down into 3 separate sections. And within those 3 sections, there are a couple kind of phases, if you will. So I'll tell you what the 3 are first, and then we'll go one by one.
Okay.
So the first one is how we collect leads. That seems basic, guys, but it's really not. We'll go into it in just a second. The second area is how we convert clients. And then the third area is how we create fans. Hugely important. So let's dive into how we collect leads. And when we look at how we collect leads, we need to talk first about how we target those leads. And this, of course, comes down to our messaging. It's about how we're niching down, of course, but it's really getting down to the nitty-gritty, right? Who is this person? Like, we need to know our person better than they know themselves. We really do. And we need to make sure that as we are talking to them, so now we're into the attraction phase, right? How do we attract these people? We have to make sure that our messaging, and that's part of our marketing, is getting those people to essentially raise their hand and go, oh, yes, this person knows me. They know exactly where I am in my business. They know what I'm struggling with. They know exactly where I am. And we want our messaging to speak to them so deeply that it's almost like a magnet. I mean, that is literally what it is. Did you have a question?
Yeah, can I hop in there? Because like so many people talk about that, and they talk about story branding, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, that's great, and I see the value at it. I suck at writing. Like, how do I get that across to my audience?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, I do. I want you to be brutally honest.
Yeah, totally.
You're like, hire me. Okay.
I will. Yeah, of course, hire me. So I think that most business owners, they go through phases, right? Like, generally speaking, a lot of times we want to serve everybody when we first start. That's very common. Everybody knows that is a potential pitfall for burnout, and it is. And what happens is usually there's some sort of a transition. And as you get into this space of email marketing and automation and knowing who you're serving, a lot of times business owners are serving a former version of themselves. So once that happens, it's like, boom, things come out very, very quickly, right? Like, I tell my clients all the time, if they're writing emails, or even if they're tweaking templates or things that I give them, if they're in the flow writing an email and words are just like flying off their fingertips, like, stay there, because you're tapping into a former version of yourself, and you very deeply understand the pain points and where that person is. So that's really easy to do. Does that answer the question? Yeah.
Do you have like maybe a client story of this is what it started like, and when we were done, this was the result? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, that's totally fine. Let me think of a good one. With the messaging specifically?
Yeah, I'll ask you one for each phase if you don't mind.
Totally. Yeah, that's fun. So I'm thinking about a client that I worked with. Gosh, we started working together I'll tell you two stories about her actually. So we had an initial conversation in like spring of whatever year it was, because we've been working together for a couple of years now. And it wasn't the right time because she had just like renewed a retainer with someone else. And so, of course, she stayed in my world. This is part of lifecycle marketing.
Yep.
I continued to just stay in touch with her because she was in my world, providing value, showing up as a resource. And 9 months later, you guys, she literally sent me an email that said something to the effect of, thank you for showing up consistently. I'm ready to talk to you about automating my business. Boom. So we as business owners, a lot of times, and we'll talk about this in kind of the middle section about engaging our clients or our leads, we give up on people way too soon and we don't convert those clients. So that same client, she was really struggling with who she worked with. And she did great at live events, but things weren't converting in her email. And it was because she wasn't clear about who she was talking to. And just like you asked me, their specific pain points. So once we got that piece done, it's like the floodgates open. It's really kind of crazy and beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, I think I learned just maybe this past year or the year before, like you said, you try to help everyone, and it really is true. If you talk to everyone, you talk to no one, because you can't be effective, and you really got to hone down and figure out who your people are. And like you said, tap into, if it's that previous version of you, what was your pain, and talk about it, live it, and then how did you get through it, type of a deal.
Yep.
So how are you, you said for 9 months you showed up consistently for her. What were you doing in those 9 months?
So I had her as part of my long-term nurture sequence, which is essentially a once a week email. In addition to I happen to have a Friday email. It's called Fab Friday because that's fun for me. And then she was in touch with me on social media, and that really plays to kind of the standard digital marketing metrics right now, which is that it's 7 to 13 touches to go from stranger to client. And I've had this show up over and over and over again. Like, I've been on the phone with people, we'd have great conversations, and they get my emails, we interact on social media, whatever's happening. Heck, I might even send them a direct DM. But if we're not close to that 7 to 13, that's when things happen. This just happened to me on Friday. I sent out my Friday email. There was a link to my calendar to talk about like what you did to get you where you are today is not going to get you where you need to go. And she booked a time on my calendar. We've already spoken on the phone. So it's a perfect example because she just needed that much more time. And business owners constantly give up before they get to that turning point.
So now, how did you set up that email life cycle? Because it sounds daunting, right? I mean, if you do it, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? If you do it a little bit at a time, it's not so bad. But when we look at the whole thing, we're like, oh my God, a 13-week follow-up email sequence that's all value. How in the world do I do that? How do you get your clients to do that?
So my clients might be a little bit spoiled because I know what it's like to look at a blank email or to look at the idea of having to write 13 emails or however many. So I give them my templates. I give them ideas on things that they can use for that value nurture sequence. And this is all, it's following kind of a Gary Vaynerchuk model, right? Which is value, value, value. So value doesn't always have to be, this is how you automate X. This is how you improve this process. Value can be all sorts of things, right? It can be a story about something that you learned. It can be a testimonial. It can be a life hack, a business hack. It can be something very specifically related to your niche or what you do. Like I live in that space of automation, right? But that's not all I do. I talk with my clients, again, about their messaging, about strategy, about sales. There's so many things. We all have our little 30-second pitches, or our elevator scripts, whatever you want to call it, but we do so much more than that. So when you think about value, your value is coming from all of your years as a working professional. It doesn't just have to be related to the business that you're running right now.
And I think that's a super huge point when you started listing off, like, what is value? What is a piece of value? And it could be like a simple story about something that you learned. So many people think, oh my gosh, I have to create a mini course and I have to give them 13 mini courses, and, and it doesn't have to be. And so that was like just a huge, I can hear people in the audience going, okay. Yay.
That was done.
Okay, so we've dripped on them. We've gotten to them to the point where they're finally ready to become a client. All right, talk to me about that life cycle.
Yeah, so that's convert clients. There was one little piece that we didn't go over in collecting leads, which is capturing.
Oh, yes.
And that's incredibly important, because I'll just touch on it really, really quickly. But you have to get to a point where you have an effective way to capture those leads. There are a lot of business owners who have an opt-in on their website, and by opt-in, I mean like a space where they can put in their email address. And that information goes to the business owner's email inbox. And the problem with that, let me first say, awesome, that's great that there's an opt-in on the website. Like, thumbs up, yes, gold star. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is we are humans. And if that email goes into our inbox and it doesn't get dealt with immediately, it's going to disappear. So we have to have a systematic, automated way to do that. And we want them to automatically get put into our welcome sequence. We don't want to have to do anything manually. We want to do as much as we can, like someone opts in, boom, they start getting dripped on immediately, automatically, or automatically.
Yeah, so you have an awesome system that you use for that. It's called Keeps. Tell us a little bit about this system and how we don't lose leads by using this.
Okay, so Keep Pro, and it's spelled Keap. Keep Pro is the system that I use because it is a game changer. I say that all the time. I'm like a broken record. I am a certified partner. So if anybody, first of all, let me just put this out there. If anybody wants to kind of evaluate like what systems they're using, please reach out to me. Just send me a DM. I am happy to do that. There are so many business owners that are using far too much technology or far too little, and either paying way too much, or they are what I call a duct taped business, meaning they have a lot of different systems and it's functioning, right? Like duct tape can fix a lot.
If their Zapier breaks, they're screwed.
Yes. Duct tape can make a lot of things work, but they might not work effectively, right? Or very efficiently. So Keep is a great all-in-one solution for a small business owner or a solopreneur. So it's going to cover like your basic CRM functionality, which is, collecting names, phone numbers, emails, things like that. Segmenting your list. So tagging, are these current clients, past clients, referral partners, so on and so forth. It will handle all of your email marketing, meaning your funnels or your campaigns, however you refer to that. Setting up landing pages, sales pages, sending invoices. Your appointment scheduler is included in Keep. It literally, that's why I say it's a game changer, because it does everything in one nice little package rather than having 5 different systems trying to communicate with each other.
I think it can even invoice and take payments too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah.
Business in a box.
That's right. Business in a box. All right. You want to talk about converting clients?
Yeah. So, but then I thought about one other question that I wanted to ask you, which was, the sign up for my newsletter on my website is so like 1990s. And that's just boring, right? Like nobody wants to put their email in to get your newsletter, to get on your welcome sequence. So talk to me about, give me something fun to give to my client that they actually want to put their email in versus, oh my gosh, one more newsletter.
Yes, got it. Awesome. You are absolutely right. Business owners and entrepreneurs are very savvy. So I will first say, stay away from newsletters, stay away from white papers and ebooks because they're unfortunately kind of a snooze fest. So what business owners want right now today is quick wins. Quick wins. What can you give them that will show them a quick win in their business and is easy to digest? Because nobody has time to be reading an ebook right now. Like technically we should all have more time, but we're using that time to do other things. So great lead magnets or opt-ins right now are any sort of business or life hack, if you will, right? Like a time savings hack. Checklists do very, very well, a short checklist. And two other ideas. This one is doing incredibly well, which is quizzes. If you can
Yeah. I actually watched a whole webinar about that. And it's amazing how interactive people are on those things. It's wild.
It's
like you
really
can build a whole funnel off a quiz.
Yeah. And what's
crazy.
cool about it is if you do it the right way, you can pose the questions on the quiz to give you insight that you're looking for about your ideal client or the pain points that they're experiencing. It's so brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
No, I was just trying to think of the guy. Is it Ryan Levesque maybe? Who is the quiz guy? See, now it's I guess it doesn't matter. But what came to mind was top 3 tips to give you 6 hours back a week in 15 minutes or less, or something like that. That's
that's a life hack. That is our two most precious commodities are time and money. So if you can save them time or money all day long, people are going to opt in for that. And then the other thing I was going to mention was, in addition to quizzes, if you can give them like a tiny little video or some module, if you have a course, and if it's a video course or something like that, where you can give them like a little mini taste, that also does very, very well.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So beginning part of your course so they get to know, like, and trust you and realize you're not full of BS.
You got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All good stuff.
Okay.
All good.
Awesome. So I realized, like, I took you down multiple little rabbit trails, and I promised you this was going to be a half an hour. I am okay on time. Are you okay on time? I want to be very respectful of your time.
Yes, I'm okay on time. Thank you for asking.
Okay, awesome. All right, fire away. Client cycle.
Okay, cool. Yes, let's talk about clients. So we've taken care of capturing our leads, right? Now it's time to engage. So we're talking about that 7 to 13 timeframe. I did a Facebook Live on this within the last week. If you are running your business on Facebook, and what I mean by that is if you are not taking connections, right? People that you've networked with, and getting their email addresses, whether that's through your group, I don't care how you do it, and getting them off of Facebook, you are doing yourself and your business a disservice. You have got to get them into your own platform. Like, I would love it to be an automated CRM, but if it's a spreadsheet, it's a spreadsheet. Like, start where you are and move forward. So that's my one, like, I'm going to bang the drum on this one because it's so important. So once you get people, right, once you've captured those leads, you now have to engage them. And that comes in a lot of different ways, right? We can call people, we can send emails, we can connect with them on social media, we can invite them to webinars, we can invite them to our free group, we can invite them to a phone consultation. Like, there are so many ways, you guys. And I just want people to not be afraid to reach out. Please, like, business owners, your potential clients are looking to you as a resource, and you have to show up for them. And that means inviting them to get on the phone with you, inviting them to take that next step. It's so important.
Quick question. I know some people may be thinking, Patty, that's great, but they're on Facebook. They can just Facebook message me. How do I get their email to get them into my system without sounding like a slimy, creepy stalker.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Right?
Um, so I think there's a couple different ways to do it. Obviously, if you have a Facebook group, that's easy. Like that's a whole nother topic. But
But
you
what
should be
she's,
asking for their
I'm
email.
sorry for just like, what
Yeah.
she's referring to is some people don't know this.
Mm.
Before you can join the Facebook group, what you can ask some questions. And one of the questions can be, I provide X. Would what's your best email to send it to you? Type of
Mhm.
deal.
Yep.
So,
And you can use your lead magnet for that.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, hey, do you want our marketing emails? Because that's boring. Nobody, like, I probably wouldn't put my email if that was the question.
Right.
But entice them, right? Hopefully with your lead magnet. Would you like to take our quiz about how to look, I don't know, 5 years younger in 5 minutes a day? Yes, all day long.
Yes, I
that.
would.
Thank you. Here's my email address.
Right. I don't know. People still think I'm 12, but anyway, moving right along. So
That's a good problem to have. Okay, so what I would do is, be very diligent about one, the types of people that you're connecting to, that they are the right type of client, right? Nobody needs to be just hanging around with tire kickers. If you're using Facebook to run your business, then think of it as a business, right? It's no longer just a social media to be like, hey, how's your day going? Like, let's start the conversation with a business mindset. And that doesn't mean you have to be a sleazy salesperson. Like I'm very anti, I actually have an email that's called something like the solution for the non-salesperson, something like that, because I'm so not a salesperson. So start the conversation about business, right? And you can be very transparent. Like I think sometimes people are afraid to be transparent because they feel like, oh, I can't ask them for their email. How could I possibly? Like all you have to do is say, I'm really making an effort to make sure that I don't run my whole business on Facebook. Would it be okay if I send you an email? Done. That's easy.
Yep.
Like don't try to pull like a bait and switch. Just be totally honest and transparent.
Amazing how refreshing that is, isn't it?
Right? Back to basics. It's all back to basics. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yes. Sorry for all my little rabbit trails.
No, I love it. I love it. It makes it super exciting for me. Okay, so we talked about engaging. So we talked kind of a lot about engaging. So let's go through. I touched a little bit on offer, right? My friends, we have to offer what we do. We have to make those offers and put those CTAs, which is a call to action, in everything, my friends. It's not just once in a while, here and there, because not everybody sees everything, whether that's on Facebook or an email, wherever. It doesn't matter where you live, Instagram, LinkedIn. So that call to action is incredibly important, and it has to be on really every piece of content that you put out. And going back to the sleazy sales conversation, it doesn't have to be sleazy or salesy. It can be like so peaceful and easy where it's just, hey, drop me an emoji, send me a DM if this sounds good. It doesn't have to be this hard push sales type of stuff, but the offer does need to be present. And then the third component of converting clients, of course, is the close. So as we're talking about automation and using systems to make life simpler, right? To get away from that feast and famine cycle. When you think about your close, what I want you to think about is how easy is it from the user's perspective, right? Like,
Yeah.
Can you just send them a link? Is that easy for you to get to? Are you having to create a custom like scope of work for every single client? Like how is that process for the end user? Is it one link and they just go and they pay? And then what happens when they pay? Do they get a thank you page that correlates with what they've purchased? Or is it totally disjointed? And then do they get a welcome email? And I'm kind of getting into the create fans a little bit, but we really need to think through this entire process. And a big part of, what did you say it was? Automate to dominate?
Yeah.
a big part of automate to dominate is we have to take what's in our brains as a business owner, and we have to extract that. Like, that's a big part of my job, is how I get my clients, because most business owners are a little type A, myself included. So we have to be able to extract what's going on in a business owner's head and put it into a flow that we can automate to dominate.
Nice.
Yeah. You want to move on? Or any other, do you have a question, rabbit hole, anything?
I was just going to ask for that story.
Okay, so talk about offers and closing. I'll give you one. This was one recent for me. So this is my space, right? So I opt in for other people's stuff a lot. And someone had a post in a Facebook group, right? And I can't remember exactly what the post was, but the post was compelling because it made me go and click whatever it was. And then there was a couple of things that happened, because I pay attention to the tiniest of details, again, because it's my space. So the lead magnet didn't really match the Facebook post, which, made me go like, okay, well, I opted in anyway, but it wasn't congruent, which it has to be, right? Because we're building that, you said it, the know, like, and trust. So I opted in for the thingy, whatever that was. And then I was sorting through my junk the next day, and I had an email to confirm my email address from this person. But what's interesting is the email, like, I almost didn't know who it was, because the email was so vague that it didn't reference like what they did, who they served, their company name. It was just this individual's name. And I was like, I almost didn't do it. And I kind of stumbled upon it. And so I did confirm my email address, but it just goes to show you, like, we really have to put ourselves in the position of the person who is reading our content and their process, because she almost lost me. Yeah. Right. And if we just think about the value of one lead, all you have to do is think about how you price out your services. Is it a one-time product? Do people pay you on a retainer basis? Is it a course where they pay you for 6 months? Like, what is the value of one client to your business? And all you have to do is think of that number in your head, and then you're like, oh crap, I need to get my stuff in order.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Because it's usually at least, hopefully it's at least $1,000, because it's the lifetime value, right? We're talking about lifetime marketing. People that buy from you once are probably going to buy again.
So that leads us right into building your tribe and creating a whole bunch of fans. Aren't you brilliant with that little segue?
I didn't actually mean it, but it worked out quite well, didn't it?
So talk to me about building a tribe.
Okay, awesome. So creating fans. The first part of this that we want to talk about is how we deliver whatever. And when I say deliver, the delivery can be your free lead magnet. It can be a DIY product. It can be anything. But again, same thing. We need to think about from the perspective of the person who has either given us their email address or paid us money. So how do we deliver that? And what is that experience on their end, right? Does it match? Is our branding consistent? Like, did they opt in for something that says, Patty Rogers, and then they get something that's like Rogers Sales and Marketing or Rogers Consulting LLC? Like, it's just kind of confusing. So think about that stuff. We are a impulsive, I was going to say nation, but we're just impulsive people, right? So you need to have automated systems so that if someone on the other side of the world opts into something or buys something in the middle of the night, it better be there for them, whatever time that is. Like, we're in a community where we have technology to support us. We have technology and automation to do the heavy lifting. So let it do it. Like, set it up and let it run so that we're really impressing those people, which is the second component of creating fans. We need to think about the ways that we impress our clients. And there's a lot of ways we can do that. We can do that with gifts. A lot of people send gifts, but you don't have to send a gift. You can send A handwritten note, very little dollars, very little money, a little bit of time involved. You can send them a personal text. Gosh, you can send a Bonjoro video, right? Like that's so easy. Bonjoro is, they have a free version. They also have a paid version where you can just create a little video on your phone. So simple, you guys. Hey, welcome to our community. We're so excited to have you here. This is wonderful. And that same type of excitement should come across in your emails. Like my very first email is like, hey, we're so excited to have you here as part of our little automation family. Welcome. We can't wait to get you to know you, blah, 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 blah. Right? But it's like my excitement comes across in my email. Almost every email, not all of them, but most of them I close with, you're amazing. Because you are, we all are, right? And sometimes we just need to hear that.
No, that's funny. Sorry, the thing that came to mind was different cultures, right? And I get, do you know who Grace Lever is by any chance?
Mm-hmm.
So she always like starts every email with, hey, lovely. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, that's the weirdest thing ever. You don't know me. Why are you calling me lovely? Right. Yeah. And then I realized like, that's an Australian thing. They call everybody lovely there. And yeah. I just, sorry, it just made me laugh because it's like, it's our personalities coming out and that's what we want. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. So the last component of that create fans is really about how you multiply this process, right? Like we just created this beautiful cycle of how we attract leads, how we capture those leads, how we engage with them, how we convert them to clients, how we impress them. And now we want to multiply that because we kind of have like the creme de la creme, right? Right in front of us. We have someone who ideally and theoretically should be giving us an awesome review, providing us with glowing and rave testimonials. And then what happens after that? They refer us. Yeah. So those people, we want to basically take that process that they went through and just multiply it, duplicate it. And there is something, I know that you said that we're speaking to female entrepreneurs. There is something that happens with women specifically. It's critter brain stuff. And we don't consistently ask for reviews and testimonials and referrals. And that is a shame.
Yeah.
We let that little critter brain get in the way. And it says all sorts of things like, well, you can't possibly ask now when you just did this amazing thing for the client because you'll seem conceited. Or it's, oh, you can't possibly ask now because, you replied to that email late. Like this is what our subconscious brain tells us, and it's so dangerous. So the way that I teach my clients and the systems that we put in place using automation is for when someone has actually paid us money, we automatically, based on what types of programs or services they offer, we automatically send that email. So nobody's fingers touch the keyboard. It just goes out. There's no self-sabotage that happens. And there's different components to this. This campaign that I built is called the 3 R's, which is reviews, referrals, and repeat business. So that's what we want, right? So it's easy to get a happy client, and it's easy to ask that happy client for a testimonial and then ultimately a referral. It's how we handle the kind of like meh clients and unhappy clients. That's really, really important because it gets uncomfortable. But in order to grow, like one of my favorite images is the 2% mindset. You can Google it. But basically all growth happens outside of our comfort zone. And if we're not willing to look at our business or our services and the way that we provide them and grow from that, then we have to look at ourselves as a business owner. It's hard to look at yourself in the mirror. So, and part of that is even just like I talked about people that have paid us money, but we should all, as a community of entrepreneurs, we should all be asking our community for referrals. We don't have to do it all the time, but we certainly should. Hey, here's the type of person that we work with. Do you know anybody who would want to get on the phone with us? Like, that's so easy.
Yeah.
We need to do that.
Good point. I actually did just automate that because I had, as you call it, the critter brain, right? And I mean, we would just get these crazy good results, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" And I'd be like, "Okay, thanks," and right. And then it's like 3 months later, I was like, "Crap, I never got that testimonial. I can't go
Yeah.
back now."
Well, dangerous. It's so and it's so like it happens and you don't even think about it. You don't even think about it at all. And it's super dangerous. So I'm so happy that you automated that.
Yeah. We
So,
can thank oh gosh, what is words are so hard today. I can't, AppSumo.
oh, yeah.
So AppSumo like is they had this thing, and it's just something called socialmonials. It's a really easy tool, but basically it just automates the whole collecting referrals process and puts it on a website, and then you can pull it off from there and turn it into social media graphics or whatever you want. But it was amazing because I put it out, and in 24 hours I had like 13 testimonials from old clients that were like, "Oh yeah, sure, here you go." I was like, "Oh wow, that worked out well."
Incredible. Great social proof.
Yeah.
Very, very important.
So
yeah. Awesome. Do you have any other, like, is there any part of that you want me to kind of retouch on or?
Well, what I would love, if it's okay, is for you to tell us about your workshop and how they get that workshop.
Awesome. Okay. So the workshop is called the Automation Assistant Workshop, which if we think about things, right, like we all want someone to help us. We all want an assistant. And so when we talk about the automation assistant, I had this idea of doing it in a workshop setting. And what I mean by that is there are some foundational kind of basic campaigns or funnels that really everybody should have in place. And so what I did is I took 6 foundational funnels and we implement them in a workshop setting. So we take 3 hours and we bang it out. So we're talking about things like your welcome sequence, which would be used from a Facebook group, for example. I have cute names for them, but I want to be aware of time. We also go through getting people on your calendar. Like there's a whole separate funnel for that because, and this is something that I want to point out to all business owners. There's oftentimes we focus on getting people on our calendars to like close the sale, which is actually what you need to be doing is just getting on the phone and having good conversations, because there is nothing better than getting on the phone with someone and finding out that they are a great resource that you can provide to your list as a value add, right? There's no better feeling than, talking to a client who needs a bookkeeper, let's say, right? And you get on the phone with this amazing bookkeeper and you can now give your client this kind of vetted referral. It's amazing. And you can have some great strategic partnerships where you can make money, right, as a second stream of income from these referrals and these partnerships. Like, it's amazing. So we want people on the calendar. That's one of the other ones that we implement. I do a networking funnel. So we're all networking. Just because we're during COVID doesn't mean that we're not networking. Actually, we met at an online networking event.
Yep.
And so
probably network more now, actually.
Right? I think so too.
It's a lot easier.
Yes. So we go through and we build out a networking funnel, which is essentially, it works for both in-person or online. What happens at in-person networking events? People collect a boatload of business cards and then they sit, right? They sit in a drawer, they sit in a purse, they sit on a shelf, wherever. So we make sure that we are circling back with those people. We incorporate some video. So we're, reaffirming that face to a name connection. Again, and all of these campaigns, what's cool about them, the way that I built it is they all work together and stack on top of each other and connect. So one of the other ones is your list building, right? Which is essentially building out your lead magnet and making sure that we have the follow-up to go along with that. And then the last two are the long-term nurture, which is giving that value, showing up for your audience, and the 3 R's that we just talked about, getting those referrals, reviews, and repeat business. So we do all of that stuff in a workshop setting, and we put it in place in your application. So you mentioned Keep Pro. I am a big proponent of the game-changing software Keep Pro. So if you have a duct-taped business, right, and you're using multiple systems or they're just not functioning for you, what we're going to do as part of this podcast is, if you guys want a demo, I'm happy to do that. But should you choose to move forward with Keep as your automation and CRM software, I'll just put you and give you the automation assistant workshop for free.
Which is ridiculously crazy, by the way, people. So, because Keep is incredibly affordable, because chances are right now you're paying for like Calendly or Schedule Once or Acuity or something like that, right? So that's $15, right? And then you're paying, probably another 20 or 30 for your email management, right? And then you're probably spending another 20 for your CRM, right?
Yep.
And they don't talk to each other, right? So, and then, you've got invoicing and all that good fun stuff, right? All right. So tell us, let's just be transparent. Tell us what Keep is a month and how that fits into the business, and how we transition all those duct tape pieces over to Keep.
Oh, awesome. Great questions. Okay. So let's talk about money first. Let's be super transparent. Keep is $99 a month for kind of like your base level, right? So that's 500 contacts and 1 user license. Now, if you have like 10,000 contacts, Keep can totally support you, but it's going to grow with you. And then as you grow, of course, the price goes up. So but it's basically $99 per month. There's usually some sort of like introductory offer that I can get for people since I am a partner with the platform. So reach out to me for sure. Sorry, I forgot the second part of your question.
How do we migrate all of our duct tape pieces into Keep so that we don't lose anything and it's not a nightmare to transition?
Yeah, great question. So Keep will actually migrate all of your contacts from wherever they are into Keep. So sometimes that can happen. You can do it on your own. Like literally, you can click a button, log into whatever your platform is. I won't name any names. And you can transfer it straight into Keep. So you can do that very easily. Everything will come over. All of the contact information, tags, notes that you have, like everything. It's kind of like a carbon copy, just copies right over. Now, things like your lead magnets, that kind of stuff, you're going to need to download those. Hopefully you have them somewhere outside of your database anyway, but then those can just be rebuilt. So you'll probably have to build a new landing page, which there's tons of templates to get you started. That's super easy. But in terms of grabbing like all of that data, that can all be migrated either by you as a user, by myself as your partner, and even Keep HQ can do it for you as well. So lots of resources to support you.
Awesome. Okay. So I think that you have a Facebook group that we can cyber stalk you on. Is that correct?
Yes, I do. So the Facebook group, I'm literally in the middle of changing the name. I just did it today, but it is going to be, if you just Google if you Facebook, I guess, search messaging, marketing, money. Those 3 words, messaging, marketing, money. Because that's what it all boils down to, guys. Like, seriously, when we're talking about business, that's kind of where the buck stops, right? We need to make sure that we get away from this cycle of like marketing to sell, to fulfill, to do it all over again, and allow those 3 pillars paired with lifecycle marketing to support you, right? It shouldn't be this struggle. You should have a constant flow of leads at different stages. And that's what having these automated systems with a lifecycle marketing framework gives you. It's amazing. Gosh, it's amazing. I told you I was a dork when it came to it.
Yeah, well, that's okay, because I I really thought I was the queen of dork, so I'm good with it. So okay, let's say somebody's listening to this and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I need that automation assistant workshop. I need to get Keep in my life." How do they get a hold of you?
Good question. So I'm on Facebook. Will we like link? I don't know how that's gonna
Yeah,
work.
I'll have show notes so I can put links. So there'll be links in the show notes, guys.
Okay.
But do you have an email you can tell them now, just in case they're listening in the car or something?
Of course. So it's my first name, which is Patty, Patty, at B2B Digital Assistance. So it's letter B, like business to business, the number 2, the letter B, Digital Assistance. And that's
.com,
my website,
right?
.com. Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
So I'm primarily on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram, but Facebook is definitely my go-to, I would say, in terms of my social media platform. So you can find me there, friend me. There's a business page, all the good stuff.
All right. And awesome. Guys, if you're checking out Patty's website, you will find a super slick lead magnet that is, I think it's called 25 Things You Should Be Automating in Your Business, right? Yep. So give her your email address and get that and start implementing it into your business. And you dropped so many knowledge bombs. So I really appreciate your time. I know we went a little bit over and I apologize for that, but thank you so much for just downloading your brain into us.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. This was super fun. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. We will see you guys on the next episode of Automate to Dominate. And everybody take care out there. Thank you for tuning in to the Automate to Dominate podcast at www.awesomeoutsourcing.com/podcast. My name is Michelle Thompson. Hey guys, if you absolutely love this show, I would greatly appreciate it if you would head on over to iTunes, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star written review. That would be amazing. And as always, if you guys know somebody who should be listening to this podcast, please don't keep it all to yourself. Share it with your friends.